and welcome to Sunset News. As always, we bring you news, community stories, economics, weather, and sports. I am Diana Master. In the news tonight, incoming official opposition Independent Patriots for Change (IPC) has lodged an urgent court challenge seeking, among others, an order for the Electoral Commission of Namibia (ECN) to avail ballot papers of the just-ended presidential and National Assembly election for scrutiny. IPC won 20 seats in the National Assembly, the highest tally by an opposition party for 34 years since independence. The party's presidential candidate, Dr. Panduleni Itula, gained 26% in the race for State House, behind SWAPO's Netumbo Nandi-Ndaitwah's 58%. SWAPO won the parliamentary vote by a slender 53%, its lowest achievement in history. Through its lawyer, Dirk Conradi, IPC requested access to specified election materials on the 6th of December. ECN promised to respond to IPC on Monday this week, the 9th of December, once it has obtained advice from the government attorney. IPC says it later realized that ECN has no power or authority to release the requested materials to IPC without an order of the court to do so. IPC has rejected the outcome of the election so far, saying it was a product of flawed processes and unconstitutional decisions by both ECN and President Nangolo Mbumba, who extended voting for 2 days in parts of the country following a chaotic first day of voting nationally. In court papers, IPC questions Mbumba and ECN's decision to extend voting to the 28th and the 29th of November after voting was only originally set for November 27th. The party argues that by law, a polling day must be a day not less than 15 days and 20 days after the day on which the proclamation notifying the polling date is published in the Government Gazette. IPC also argues that voting was legally allowed to take place between 7 a.m. and 9 p.m. on the 27th of November, but ECN that day directed that polling stations must continue to allow new arrivals to vote beyond 9 p.m. The party also argues that while voting day has to be declared a public holiday, such was not the case on the 28th and 29th of November, the days of the extended voting. This, the party argues, was unconstitutional. Declaring a public holiday for purpose of election must logically be intended to facilitate people's exercise of their constitutional right to vote, IPC's National General Secretary Christine Algemas said in court papers filed on Monday. Irregularities: IPC contends that the election was marred by irregularities and that its search for access to voting materials was to help determine the extent of those irregularities. In our next story, Namibia on Monday asked the International Court of Justice (ICJ) to determine that the obligations of those countries most responsible for the climate crisis historically and currently should not be merely aspirational but legally binding, both as primary obligations and as a legal consequence of violating those obligations. Namibia on Monday presented its arguments in what is being described as the largest case in history before the ICJ in the fight against climate change. In The Hague, Netherlands, a group of small island nations led by Vanuatu is urging the world's top court to hold the major greenhouse gas-emitting countries accountable for failing to tackle climate change. The case involves nearly 100 countries, including Namibia, and is being heard by 15 judges at the ICJ. The island nations argue that just a few countries have produced the vast majority of historic and current greenhouse gas emissions, yet nations that emit very little face the brunt of the consequences. They are seeking the court's legal opinion on two questions: what are the obligations of governments under international law to protect the planet's climate system and environment, and what are the legal consequences for countries that have caused significant harm to the climate, environment, and people. Namibia has been actively engaged in these proceedings and successfully filed its written statement in March of 2024 and written comments on the 14th of August 2024. The final step in these proceedings was for states to present oral hearings, which was scheduled for the 2nd to the 13th of December. The Justice Ministry said that the Cabinet of Namibia approved Namibia's participation in the advisory opinion on the obligations of state in respect of climate change before the ICJ. Getting into our next story, key figures, including Emilia Nyikimbwa, CEO of the Communications Regulatory Authority of Namibia, CRAN, highlighted the role of ICT regulators in fostering national AI policies to ensure Africa's competitiveness in the digital era. Speaking at the forum, Nyikimbwa emphasized the transformative potential of AI in addressing local challenges, driving sustainable development, and reducing the continent's digital divide. She pointed out that despite AI's potential, many African countries are lagging in regulatory frameworks and national AI policies. AI offers a unique opportunity to tackle Africa's most pressing challenges, from infrastructure deficits to education and healthcare gaps. However, the lack of cohesive and forward-thinking policies may slow our progress and restrict AI's potential, she stated. She used Namibia's Green Hydrogen project as a case study, noting how a conducive regulatory environment has enabled the project to thrive, positioning Namibia as a regional leader in green energy. Furthermore, Ngikembo highlighted successful AI initiatives in other African countries, including Uganda's use of AI in agriculture, South Africa's AI-driven diagnostics in radiology, and Nigeria's use of AI in inventory forecasting. John Omo, Secretary General of the African Telecommunications Union (ATU), echoed Ngikembo's sentiments, stressing that the absence of sound policy framework stifles the region's AI potential. The African continent represents only 2.5% of the global AI market. To change this, we must prioritize the development of robust policies and regulations that ensure equitable access to AI technologies and solutions, he said. Now, the two-day bail hearing of Chidake Murangi, 22, a fitness instructor accused of stabbing his partner Frida Amadila, 29, 8 times, concluded on Monday, the 9th of December, and returns to the Windhoek Magistrates Court today, Wednesday, the 11th of December, for submissions. The hearing, which began on December 6th, included testimony from Frida's sister, Elina Amadila, and her neighbor, Amos Stein, who called the police after Murangi allegedly ran to his apartment door seeking assistance following the incident. During Monday's proceedings, Joseph Sakaria, an investigating officer with Nampol's Serious Crime Unit, testified before Magistrate Monica Anjamba. According to Sakaria's investigation, on the night of April 8th, when she was brutally attacked, Murangi allegedly forced his way into her flat using an iron bar. On Friday, however, Murangi, charged with murder, testified that he broke into the flat to retrieve his phone, which he claimed Frida had logged inside along with herself. The state, represented by Eric Naikaku, alleges that Murangi visited Frida's apartment on April the 8th during the day but was ignored by her. He reportedly returned later that night, allegedly jumping over the boundary gate to gain access when she refused to open the gate for him. Sakaria testified that the post-mortem report indicating injuries to Frida's knees suggests she put up a fight but was unfortunately overpowered. The extent of the injuries leads me to believe that Murangi used extreme force on Frida and he fractured the bones, protecting her vital chest organs, ultimately injuring her heart, he stated. Murangi allegedly used a sharp knife to stab Frida. Murangi is represented by his legal aid lawyer Milton Engelbrecht. Closing off our top stories, in commemoration of Human Rights Day and Namibian Women's Day yesterday, the Combos Regional Council hosted a wreath-laying ceremony at the Old Location Cemetery in Windhoek. The keynote address was delivered by the chairperson of the Combos Regional Council, Shalukeni Monde, and this video is courtesy of Rita Kakelo.
Together to observe the International Human Rights Day and Namibian Women's Day. This is a day of profound importance to the global community and to Namibia as a nation. It is a day to reflect on the principles that bind us together as human beings: our dignity, equality, freedom, and justice, and to recommit ourselves to ensuring these principles are upheld by every individual in society. The late Nelson Mandela once said, "To deny people their human rights is to challenge their very humanity." Here in Namibia, the struggle for independence and the sacrifices of those who came before us were rooted in the demand of these very rights. Today, our Constitution stands as a testament to the values of justice and equality, enshrining protection that safeguards the dignity of every Namibian. However, while we celebrate these achievements, we must also acknowledge the challenges we continue to face. Poverty, unemployment, gender-based violence, and inequality remain stark realities for too many Namibians. These are not just economic or social issues, they are direct threats to human rights. As leaders and citizens, it is our shared responsibility to address these challenges.
We'll now be taking a quick ad break and returning with our Community Talk segment when we come back.
Santa has a festive surprise for you. Starting 2nd December, unwrap the magic of Christmas with our Advent calendar. Spot the Christmas globes in your favorite newspapers from Monday to Friday. Scan the QR code or WhatsApp #AdventCalendar24 to the Synergy chatbot. Find the Christmas globes on NTV. Or visit our Facebook pages for daily Advent doors from Monday to Saturday. Win daily prizes. Lucky winners will be contacted and Logistics Hub Namibia will deliver your prize. Merry Christmas from Santa and his proud prize sponsors.
Connection. It's in the human touch, the feeling of belonging. It inspires us and empowers us, creates clarity from complexity. It starts new conversations, unlocks the power of advice, and makes an impact on your life. At Alex Forbes, we pioneer insight to provide you with advice that connects your decisions of today to your impact tomorrow.
You're still with Sunset News and getting into our community talk segment tonight. During a high-level panel on the sustainable ocean economy in Walvis Bay, Derek Clausen, the Minister of Fisheries and Marine Resources, delivered a keynote address. He stated that climate change, overfishing and pollution threaten not only the health of the ocean, but also the well-being of coastal communities and the economy that depends on this vital ecosystem. Frida Moluto was there.
The ocean is the lifeblood of our planet. She regulates our climate, sustain marine biodiversity, and provide food and livelihood for billions of people globally. However, these invaluable resources face unprecedented pressure. Climate change, overfishing, pollution, and habitat destruction. It threatens not only the health of our ocean, but also the well-being of coastal communities and economies that depend on these vital ecosystems. Namibia is and remains acutely aware of these challenges. As a coastal seafaring and fishing nation, we are mandated with the responsibility to delicate balance between utilizing our marine resources and preserving their sustainability. Our marine sector plays a critical role in our economy, providing and protecting livelihood, ensuring food security.
In economic news tonight, South Africa's rand strengthened on Monday, kicking off a busy week of economic data releases as gold prices rose following China's central bank resuming its gold purchases. Stick around for the full story coming up right after this.
Welcome to Namibia, where adventure meets tranquility. With Enjoy, you have access to a wide range of accommodations to suit every traveler's taste and budget. Experience the finest dining and hospitality Namibia has to offer. Booking your dream accommodation is just a few clicks away with Enjoy. Join thousands of happy travelers who have trusted Enjoy for their Namibian getaway. Your gateway to unforgettable Namibian adventures. Visit us today at enjoy.my.na.
Let's get straight into our economic news. South Africa's rand strengthened on Monday, kicking off a busy week of economic data releases as gold prices rose following China's central bank resuming its gold purchases. At 2:13 p.m. GMT, the commodity-linked rand traded at 17.80 against the US dollar, marking a 1.2% improvement from its previous close. Sales trader at IG Group Katlego Ntema attributed the rand's gains to global developments, saying developments in the Middle East, together with China's central bank resuming gold purchases purchases after a 6-month pause have driven up gold prices, benefiting the rand. This week, South Africa-focused investors will turn their attention to a series of key economic indicators. October mining and manufacturing production data will be released on Tuesday, while retail sales figures are due on Wednesday. On the same day, Statistics South Africa will publish November's consumer inflation data, followed by producer inflation figures on Thursday. Meanwhile, global markets are awaiting U.S. inflation data on Wednesday, which could provide clues about the Federal Reserve's policy stance ahead of its meeting next week. Tema also advised caution, noting, while we expect the rand to extend gains in the short term, we would remain cautious until the release of both U.S. and South African Consumer Price Index data on Wednesday. On the Johannesburg Stock Exchange, the top 40 index was last up by about 0.7%. Additionally, South Africa's benchmark 2030 government bond saw its yield fall by 2.5 basis points to 8.91%. Now let's take a look at the economic indicators. The Namibian dollar trades at 22.92 against the British pound, 19.09 to the euro, 18.09 against the US dollar, and 2 Namibian dollars and 50 cents buys you 1 Chinese yuan. Gold and Brent crude oil are up by 0.20 and 1.08% respectively, while copper and platinum took dips of 0.28 and 0.16% respectively. In international news after the break, New York prosecutors have charged 26-year-old Luigi Mangione with the murder of United Health executive Eric Thompson. Stick around for the full story.
Explore the beauty of Namibia with our car rentals. From wide open spaces to the plains of Namibia's national parks, enjoy the freedom of the open road. Go anywhere you want, whenever you want. We've got you covered, even in the most remote locations. Visit our website and see what we have to offer.
Headlining international news tonight, New York prosecutors have charged 26-year-old Luigi Mangione with the murder of United Health executive Eric Thompson, a targeted killing that sparked a tense 5-day manhunt, ending with Mangione's capture in Pennsylvania earlier on Monday. Authorities say Mangione was arrested at a McDonald's in Altoona, Pennsylvania, after a customer and employee recognized him from news reports. When approached by officers and asked if he had recently been in New York, Mangione reportedly became visibly nervous and quiet. He was carrying a laptop and a backpack, which police later searched, discovering a loaded ghost gun, an untraceable firearm, along with clothing and a mask similar to those used in the crime. Mangione was arraigned in Pennsylvania on Monday night, facing gun and forgery charges. Bail was denied after prosecutors cited the large sums of cash, fake IDs, and electronic devices found in his possession, deeming him a flight risk. In New York, prosecutors added charges of murder and 4 related gun offenses. Police are now investigating whether Mangione had accomplices or intended to target others. They revealed that shell casings at the crime scene bore the words "deny, defend, and depose," referencing a 2010 book critical of the insurance industry. A handwritten document recovered from Mangione also cited and hinted at his mindset, showing ill will toward corporate America, though it did not list specific targets. Authorities have identified Mangione as a native of Towson, Maryland, a 2020 graduate of the University of Pennsylvania, where he earned dual engineering degrees. His last known address was in Honolulu, Hawaii. Thompson, 50, was gunned down last Wednesday outside a Manhattan hotel by a masked man who appeared to lie in wait before shooting him from behind. Surveillance footage showed the suspect fleeing the scene on a bicycle, later taking a taxi to a bus station to escape New York. Thompson's murder has struck a chord with many Americans frustrated by rising health insurance costs, unexpected medical bills, and claim denials. However, Pennsylvania Governor Josh Shapiro strongly condemned the glorification of Mangione in some online discussions, saying, "In America, we do not kill people in cold blood to resolve policy differences or express a viewpoint." Thompson, a father of 2 and the CEO of United Health Group's insurance unit since 2021, was in New York attending the company's annual investor conference when he was killed. In a statement, United Health said, "Our hope is that today's apprehension brings some relief to Eric's family, friends, colleagues, and the many others affected by this unspeakable tragedy. This remains a developing story, and we will provide updates as new details emerge." In our next story, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu is testifying in his long-running corruption trial, marking the first time a sitting Israeli Prime Minister has appeared as a criminal defendant. This highly anticipated testimony is expected to last several weeks and comes amid ongoing challenges including the war in Gaza and an international arrest warrant for Netanyahu's alleged involvement in war crimes. The 75-year-old Prime Minister began his testimony on Tuesday in a packed Tel Aviv courtroom where he dismissed the charges against him as an ocean of absurdness. Netanyahu is facing charges of fraud, breach of trust, and accepting bribes in 3 separate cases. These include accusations of accepting cigars and champagne from billionaire Hollywood producer Arnon Milchan in exchange for favors, as well as promoting favorable media coverage for media moguls in return for regulatory benefits. Netanyahu, who will testify for 6 hours a day, 3 days a week for several weeks, maintained that he could balance his court commitments with his duties as Prime Minister. The trial, which has already seen testimony from former close aides who have turned state witnesses, has intensified the political crisis in Israel. Now, despite the pressure, Netanyahu has refused calls to resign and has used his position to criticize the legal system, law enforcement, and media. His trial comes at a sensitive time as Israel continues to face heavy fighting in Gaza, with public frustration over Netanyahu's leadership growing after the deadly October 7 Hamas attack. Netanyahu's trial is also complicated by an arrest warrant from the International Criminal Court for alleged war crimes in Gaza. Outside the court, there were protests both for and against Netanyahu, as his supporters argued that these charges are politically motivated. The trial is expected to last for several years, with a verdict unlikely until 2026 at the earliest, and Netanyahu has the option to appeal the decision to the Supreme Court. Now let's take a look at the weather predictions. Katima Mulilo can expect maximum temperatures of 41 degrees and minimum temperatures of 24 degrees. Here in Windhoek, showers are expected. Maximum temperatures are expected to hit 34 degrees Celsius and temperatures will drop to as low as 24 degrees Celsius. Looking at Ariamsvlei, 38 degrees is expected to be the maximum temperature and 24 degrees Celsius is expected to be the minimum temperature. In Swakopmund, they can expect showers. Maximum temperatures will be at 18 degrees Celsius and minimum temperatures at 16 degrees Celsius. Stay with us after the break. We return with the news headlining the world of sports.
I'm sure you've heard the news, and Namibia is calling. And it's time to answer with a smile. From the rolling sand dunes of Sossusvlei to the wildlife wonders of Etosha National Park, Namibia is a treasure trove of natural beauty and adventure. With Enjoy, booking the most renowned lodges is as easy as a desert breeze. Picture yourself sipping coffee on a deck, watching the sunrise. Paint the sky in hues of gold and orange. Or how about a thrilling safari, capturing memories that'll last a lifetime? Our easy-to-use website hosts the most beautiful lodges Namibia has to offer. Whether you crave luxury or a cozy hideaway, we've got you covered. So pack your bags and let's turn your dream adventure into reality. Namibia awaits, and with Enjoy, your perfect stay is just a click away.
Starting off our sports news, Premier League referee David Coote has been dismissed by the referees body, PGMOL, following a comprehensive investigation into his conduct. Coote, 42, was suspended on November 11th after a video surfaced online allegedly showing him making derogatory comments about Liverpool and their former manager Jurgen Klopp. The remarks appear to refer to a Premier League match Coote officiated in July 2020 between Liverpool and Burnley, which ended in a 1-1 draw. 2 days later, the investigation expanded when photos published by The Sun allegedly showed Coote using a rolled-up US banknote to sniff a white powder during the summer's European Championship. Neither the video nor the photos have been independently verified. The PGMOL stated that Coote's actions breached his employment contract, making his position untenable. However, the organization emphasized its continued commitment to Coote's welfare and noted that he retains the right to appeal the decision. On November 27th, the FA launched a separate investigation into allegations that Coote discussed giving a yellow card during a championship match between Leeds and West Brom in 2019. The claims, which Coote has denied, involve an exchange with a fan about Leeds defender Alioski receiving a booking during the game. The FA clarified there is no evidence of financial gain and that the booking itself was considered correct. Additionally, UEFA suspended Kut from his duties at the Euros as it conducted its own inquiry into the allegations. The PGMOL emphasized the seriousness of the allegations, stating David Kut's actions were found to be in serious breach of the provisions of his employment contract. In our next story, Lewis Hamilton has expressed his satisfaction with how his time at Mercedes ended following what he described as a really turbulent year. The seven-time world champion concluded his 12-year stint with the team with a 4th place finish at the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix after starting from 16th on the grid. It has been probably the longest year of my life, knowing from the beginning I was leaving, Hamilton said. It's like a relationship where you've told your partner you're leaving, but you're still living together for a year. There were lots of ups and downs, but we finished on high. At 39, Hamilton will join Ferrari in 2025, marking the end of the longest and most successful driver-team partnership in F1 history. He overtook teammate George Russell on the final lap of the Abu Dhabi race, securing 4th place and then celebrated by doing donuts on the pit straight. Afterward, he paused to reflect beside his car. Each moment, I knew it was one of the last, and it's been really hard to let go, he said. When I stopped the car, I wanted to embrace the moment. Representing Mercedes has been the greatest moment of my life. I'm proud of everyone involved in building that car. Hamilton clinched 2 victories in 2024, his first wins since 2021, when he narrowly lost out on an 8th world title. However, it was not without its challenges, including a tough 12th place finish in Qatar just a week before Abu Dhabi. We've had our ups and downs, but what's clear is the real love that's been present, Hamilton said. The board members who stood by me all these years said today, you'll always be a part of the family. It shows the love between us. Hamilton's teammate for the last 3 years, George Russell, finished 22 points ahead of him in the Drivers' Championship. Russell, 26, said, it felt fitting to finish with Lewis just 1 second apart after all these years. He deserved this great weekend. Russell, who will be partnered with 18-year-old Andrea Kimi Antonelli in 2025, spoke about the impact Hamilton had on him as both a driver and a person. Lewis has taught me so much about being a role model. We all have this platform and we must use it correctly. Reflecting on their 12 years together, Mercedes team principal Toto Wolff said, it creates attachment and trust, values that are rare today. It's a period of time and will always hold close to our hearts. As Hamilton prepares to leave Mercedes for Ferrari, his legacy at the team remains a significant chapter in Formula One history. And with that, we have come to the end of the broadcast. Make sure you join Sunset News on Facebook and all the NMH platforms on weekdays, as well as on our website, 1up2u.com. Sunset News screens on DSTV channel 285 and GoTV channel 25 every weekday from 7:30 to 8 p.m. I am Diana Master, and this has been Sunset News. Don't end your day without us.